Welcome back to DAP Build, and today I'm going to be doing a small advisory course. I'm so sorry. So if you're new to the channel, I do invite you to like, subscribe, and check the notification bell so you can keep up to date with everything going on in the channel. This is my Abarth 595, and as much as I love it, there are a few little things I like to add. And of course, last week, having done the rear wiper delete, quite enjoying that. It is nice to not see that stupid thing when I'm actually walking up to the car and of course, looking through the rear vision mirror. But today I'm actually tackling something which, it's a bit of a question mark as to whether or not this is actually going to do anything, really. I have some of these on my Bug, on my other daily commuter that no longer is a daily commuter. This is taking the place of that. But these ones are really shallow. They're quite small. And by the same account as well, because of that reason, I'm kind of wondering if they're actually going to do anything at all. They are a visor. Now, they're supposedly there to aid in allowing a bit of air to come through so that you can have the window a gap slightly, which to be honest is most of the point in what I use it for in summer. So I'll have the actual window down a small crack, just allows the heat to come out of the car. That way it's not baking in the sun during the workday. But with the Bug one, I found that I can actually have the window down quite a fair way. They are quite long, so of course you've got enough of a gap there to be able to have the window down quite substantially, drive along and not really notice that the windows are down. I don't think that's going to be the case with these because they are so small and because they do hug so close to the actual body. I'll just go and grab it and we'll measure it up against the body so you can see what we're in for. And then of course, I'm doing another little test just to see how effective they actually are. I'm not sure if you can hear this, but there is a wild noise coming from somewhere over there. And I don't mean that Land Rover. But anyway, moving on. So these are the actual visors themselves, and they do kind of wrap around and inside. These ones sit in the recess of the rubber here. So as you can see, they're quite long at the moment, but they do sit inside. So if I line them up properly, it'll basically be like that for the end effect. A little hard to do, but anyway. The weird thing is though, that these have tiny little strips of double-sided tape on them, which is fine. Most of the time, the ones I've dealt with have been stick-on over the top, but this is actually rubber here. It's not a hard surface as such, so that is actually quite flexible and rather flimsy. So putting anything onto that really wouldn't result in much. But what they have done, of course, is include these clips, which I can't figure out how they're supposed to go into the actual window, because I can fit this in here quite easily. I've done a bit of a test fit, but I've no idea what to do with these. So I think in this situation, because they are quite snug, I'm simply going to take the tape off and ignore these altogether. So goodbye. The main thing I want to actually do is do a little wind noise test. So driving the car along, which this is what I did earlier. Some good numbers. Interesting. So that was the prior result with the window deflectors completely removed out of the equation. Now we're going to add this in and then do the test again, see if it's actually resulted in anything. So I've already removed the tape because that was fiddly and took a while. So drop the window. Okay. So as I said, I'm not going to rely on these clips because I really don't know how they go in here. If someone happens to know, please drop a mention in the comments below and I'll add them. Maybe. So it is just a factor of being firm yet gentle. Yeah. We just have to line things up and then hope we don't break anything because this part is not fun. There we go. Not too bad. Just pull it in a bit against this rubber. I don't know what or if it's actually making contact with, but again, it is pretty tight. The rubber trim piece and everything like that pretty much hold it in there, so I mean, these aren't really going anywhere. Shouldn't be an issue. What I don't like though is that the glass does push the sims. If you know what I'm talking about, this door does that every time. Yeah, it does push against the back side of the plastic, and it does make that annoying noise. You can hear the load as it wants to push up against there, so it is making firm contact. Again, when the glass is in, these aren't going to go anywhere, so I mostly drive with these with these on. With the windows up, I should say. Very seldom to actually have windows down, so it is only a case of when I've actually got this thing parked, just to let a bit of heat out, and of course, if for argument's sake, I do want to occasionally hear the exhaust, but yeah, I can't really tell that much anyway. So anyway, it is what it is. But that's now done. So I think we go for a little drive and test out the difference. But the way I've actually mounted the phone in the first place, let me show you. So I don't have a phone mount for this car. I don't really need one. I've got Android Auto, and eventually I'll be adding in a wireless charging dock. So that'll be another thing, but it'll still be out of the way. I won't actually have visual sight of the phone. Don't need it. So how did I actually measure the wind noise? Well, I lifted this up and put the phone in like so, and then kind of held it in place. So as you can imagine, the data coming off of this one is not really worth anything, but for the giggles, I decided to do it anyway. So we'll strap this back in and go for a little drive. It's mostly going to be me hearing the difference. I did do this a bit earlier with the window down, just heard what it was like. Well, obviously I did it down because you saw the video, but anyway, moving on. So basically I've got the window dropped down enough that I can fit my fingers between the gap, which is how I measured it last time. Honestly, I'm not noticing much of a difference. It kind of sounds the same, which I somewhat expected, to be honest. I mean, it's not a very big wind deflector in comparison to a lot of the other ones, but for the main reason which I use it for, it's still going to do a decent job, which of course is allowing the heat to come through and not having all the sun go through, because that is actually tinted at the same time. Hopefully this isn't too loud and mucking up the audio, but we'll find out, I suppose. I can't really hear much more of the exhaust either. It doesn't really seem like it's any different. Let's just try. It's definitely quieter. Yeah. I don't think it's really achieved the result I was kind of after. Again, it'll do the job for what I want anyway, which is the main point. So if you're considering it, I suppose the good thing is that you can always have the windows down and crack when it's raining, and that way you won't actually get anything coming into the car. Obviously when it's hot, it just allows the heat to escape. So again, that's what it's going to do for me. Maybe you'll get some benefit also. So that's pretty much going to do it again today, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. This was absolutely riveting, this one I guarantee, but it's another mod, it's another thing, and I think it also makes the car look a little nicer too. I don't mind the look of these when they actually have the deflectors on, or visors anyway. So yeah, that's going to do it again today, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, like, subscribe, comment below, etc. This has been Dat Build. Now, get back to your build. Until next time, cheers.